In this video, we're going to explore some of the differences between ChatGPT 4.0 and ChatGPT 4.0 Mini. This video request was made by Andrea Ferguson, our COO, and some others, so here we are. This video is going to be for you if you're a business owner, but you're not a coder. It's not going to be relevant for you if you're plugged into the API of ChatGPT. We won't get into that part of it. So if you do use ChatGPT and you did not know, there was a release about 9 days ago where ChatGPT 4.0 Mini was released. And I'm going to bring that up here. Hold on. Perfect. And so as you can see, it says ChatGPT 4.0 Mini Advancing Cost-Efficient Intelligence. And this was July 18th, 2024. It says introducing our most cost-efficient small model. Now again, what it goes into in the beginning is that it's 60% cheaper than GPT 3.5 Turbo, and it goes into the cost efficiency based on you being a coder. Now, because I just pay for the Pro plan or whatever it's called, premium plan, this isn't as relevant to me since I'm not plugged into the API of OpenAI and ChatGPT. So if you're like me and you just pay for the Pro plan with ChatGPT, then again, the tokens and this in the beginning is going to be a little bit less relevant. Then it gets into, what it's really meant for and where it's good. Reasoning tasks, math and coding, multi-model reasoning. Here's the model evaluation scores, so on and so forth. And that it has built-in safety measures, available pricing. It goes into the fact that in ChatGPT Free, Plus, and Team, users will be able to access 4.0 Mini. So that's interesting to know, is that even if you're on the free plan, you're going to have access to 4.0 Mini. And starting today, that will be in place of GPT 3.5. Now, in this case, today was July 18th. Okay. Now, this really doesn't mean much if you're not a coder. So we're going to get into the actual differences. And sometimes the best way to do that is to ask. So what we're going to do is we're going to get out of this screen and we're going to actually go in and test 5 to 7 different use cases and compare the output that 4.0 gives us versus regular 4.0 versus 4.0 Mini. So I'm going to stop sharing here and bring it to one second. It's verifying I'm a human. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so I'm actually going to bring it full screen so that we could use the app, which some of you may or may not know about, but we'll get into that. So you should see the app. Why isn't it showing the app? Hold on. I don't think it can because it's a... All right, we'll just have to look at the output for regular. 1 second. Okay, so we'll just have to look at this and we'll go to voice app a different day. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just ask it what the major differences are. So here is where you navigate to this. So once you're in your ChatGPT, you'll see this at the top, and then you'll see ChatGPT 4, ChatGPT 4.0, which it says best for complex tasks, and ChatGPT 4.0 Mini faster for everyday tasks. So I'm going to go into here and I'm just going to say, what type of tasks is 4.0 mini better for? And it's going to tell us. ChatGPT 4.0 mini. Let's go here. Is ChatGPT 4 mini compared to 4.0? All right, so resource efficiency, speed, as you could see already, it's pretty fast. It's a lot faster than normal ChatGPT. Basic and routine tasks. It excels in handling routine, straightforward queries and tasks, such as basic information retrieval, simple question answering, and handling common conversational scenarios. Again, cost effectiveness is kind of irrelevant if you're not plugged into the API. So we're going to go into a couple examples here where we're going to compare ChatGPT and ChatGPT 4.0 mini versus 4.0. So first question here is going to say, and I'm going to do 4.0, how do I start getting inbound clients on LinkedIn? You could tell it's slower, and then we'll see the steps that it gives us. So it's going in depth with optimize your LinkedIn profile, define your target audience, create valuable content, engage with your network, leverage LinkedIn features. Okay, it's like doing a whole book. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the same input into 4.0 mini. And I'm going to do this with a new chat so it can't be, influenced by the previous answer. So it's a lot faster. And it only went into 7 steps instead of 10. Optimize your profile, and it didn't go into each of the mini bullet points. It actually just emphasized like headline, summary, visuals. Content creation, networking, showcase your experience, leverage LinkedIn features, call to action, analyze and adjust. Interesting. So next use case, we'll go to 4.0. We'll say, what are 3 things? So instead of just asking it a general question, I'm going to say, what are 3 things I could start to do to get inbound clients on LinkedIn? All right. I like that. I like the flow, and I like especially how it gave the LinkedIn Live and the LinkedIn newsletter. All right, so let's do this with 4.0 mini, and I'm curious to see what the 3 things are that it comes up with. So it kind of what's interesting is it kind of just put optimized profile and content into the first step. And then it put the features into the second step, and then it said engage, which I would be more prone to agree with than the 4.0 response. It also did it a lot faster. And I think that the language that it's doing it in is, I don't want to say less professional, but more friendly. It's just as professional, but more friendly. All right, so now I'm going to give it a little bit of a harder question or instructional. So I'm going to say, should I use StreamYard, Restream, or Zoom to go live on video on LinkedIn? And it's going to go into the pros and cons of each. I'm actually curious to see what the end response is. If your primary focus is ease of use, StreamYard might be the best choice. If you want to take advantage of multi-streaming to multiple platforms, Restream is a solid option. If you need advanced features and are comfortable using additional tools. All right. Okay. Not going to get into the rebuttal of that. So let's just see what 4.0 mini says before I give my feedback. For a straightforward LinkedIn Live experience, StreamYard is often recommended. If you want to stream to multiple platforms, Restream is a strong choice. If you're already comfortable with Zoom and need its additional features, it could work too, but it may require more setup. So I would agree with this. A lot of people start going live on LinkedIn they set it up through Zoom, and then it could end in disaster because they don't know how to connect it last minute, which is what will be required if you do that. Let me go through the pros and cons. Easy to use. Interface may be less intuitive. That's true. I use both Restream and StreamYard, and I could say that that's true. And it might be overkill if you're focusing on only LinkedIn Live. That's a funny response. Okay, that's actually hilarious. Now let's ask it a very simple question, because one of the things with ChatGPT is if you ask it a question as simple as like, what's a LinkedIn newsletter? Sometimes it could go down a rabbit hole and almost create a book instead of just answering the question. As we could see it's doing now. I just asked it, what is a LinkedIn newsletter? And it answered it here. It's a feature that allows members to create and distribute a series of articles to their network. That's just the answer. Uh, it doesn't have to go into the key features and the benefits. And it's even going into how to create it by itself. Now let's do it for 4.0 mini. Okay, so it went into the key features. It didn't go into the benefits, but it's still, it's shorter. And it says a LinkedIn newsletter is a feature on LinkedIn that allows users to create and distribute content directly to their followers and connections through email notifications and LinkedIn's platform. It's similar to traditional email newsletters, but it's integrated within LinkedIn. Okay. All right, next one. Now let's see if it gives a different answer for how often we should publish. So with ChatGPT 4.0, it's basically saying it depends on your capacity. Here are some general guidelines. And it's saying you could start with one frequency and adjust. For example, you might begin with bi-weekly and switch to weekly. Okay, fine. Next, let's go to this one. Is this 4.0? Let's just go to a new one. 4.0 mini. For many, starting with bi-weekly or monthly can be a good balance, then adjusting based on how things go. All right. All right. So let's see how it could actually turn something into something else. So I'm going to give it my YouTube transcript from one of my YouTube videos, and I'm going to tell it to turn it into an article. Let's see how well it does. I'm going to say rewrite this into a LinkedIn article. This is 4.0. Okay, let me see. Got the steps right so far. Now, just so you know, the 4.0 mini, I don't believe that it can create, it does have limited features. So I think it could see a few things, but if you look, With 4.0, you could input documents and then I can ask it to create an image. With 4.0 mini, that feature is limited. So I'm going to say rewrite this into a LinkedIn article. If this is the YouTube video, that's pretty wild. It is. So that's interesting. It got the steps correct. And it even did a hyperlink out. I would also say that one of the things that drives me crazy about, when you're repurposing with ChatGPT is that a lot of the articles will start like this. So, in today's digital landscape, leveraging LinkedIn can be a game changer. That's very ChatGPT ish. Like, nobody's going to want that as their first line for the article. What I think that what's interesting here is that they did the headlines, like the headers are big, and there was no really call to action that it did by itself. But the other one, hold on. This one, the intro seems a lot, if you're a founder driving a few million, and I say this in the beginning of the video, uh, it's a much more natural intro. Okay, so that's interesting. Next one. I'm going to say I'm going to actually copy this and I'm going to open a new one and I will say create an email based on this article for my private email list. And it's going into a pretty in-depth. I mean, at that point, I should just copy and paste. Okay, next one. Hold on. Because I want to keep it the same. What's going on here? All right, so it understood the assignment a lot better because it should not be as robust. If it's for a private email list, then, if I was going to make it as robust as the article, I might as well just copy and paste the entire article. So far I think it's really useful for everyday content creation things versus 4.0. Now I think if you're going to analyze your data, if you're going to get into a lot of complex things, then it wouldn't be as good. But just for repurposability and for little things, I think it's great. I also think it would be better suited for voice. So if you have the open AI's like ChatGPT app on your desktop, like I have it on my Mac, if I were to interact with 4.0 mini via voice, I think it'll give me, faster responses, number one. And also the responses would probably sound more like I was talking to someone and they would be shorter and to the point. So Just keep that in mind if you are using the app and using it for voice. But I mean, from what I see, it looks great. It's actually more surprising than I thought. Oh, wow. There's a lot of comments in the chat. Give me ideas of what you want me to compare here. Whoa, super fast. Yes, super fast. Short, crisp, and concise. I would say ChatGPT is more technical and gives you actionable steps. Yes, while ChatGPT is verbose and theoretical. I guess for short, quick responses, Mini is preferred. Let's try to do the voice. I don't know if you will be able to hear it, but I'll try it. Hold on. So I'm gonna just ask it. Let's ask it. I'm gonna ask for O first. I don't know if you all could hear, but hey, how often should I go live on YouTube?
Going live on YouTube can be a great way to engage with your audience. For most creators, once a week is a good frequency to start with. This allows you to maintain regular interaction with your viewers without overwhelming them or yourself. However, the best frequency can depend on your specific audience and the type of content you provide. Have you done any live stream?
That's long. I had to cut her off. Okay, let's do another one where it's 4.0. 4.0 mini. Okay, so this is 4, and that was long. She was taking me down a rabbit hole, and you could hear it good, right? So I'm gonna just ask the same question. Hey, how often should I go live on YouTube? It says connecting. Hey, how often should I go live on YouTube?
For a consistent presence, going live once a week is a solid choice. It keeps your audience engaged and allows you to build a routine. If you find that your audience responds well, you might consider increasing the frequency. What kind of content are you planning to stream?
So you see how what it felt like with voice. And so I kind of see where this is going because Andrea, who's in the chat, asked me earlier, did I get access to ChatGPT search? Not yet. But if you think about it, one of the most frustrating things about Siri is that she never answers your question, or she misunderstands you, or the answer that she gives you is really outdated. So I could definitely see where the 4.0 mini is just so much better, probably at answering voice and interacting with voice through the app or through your phone. Or remember, it's going to be integrated in, I think, all iPhones in the future. So just kind of keep that in mind. Yeah, the voice is so useful. Let's ask it one more time. I'm going to ask. This is 4.0 now. I'm going to ask this question. How can I get people more engaged during my YouTube live?
To get people more engaged during your YouTube live, try these tips. 1, interact with your audience by responding to comments and questions in real time. 2, encourage viewers to participate by asking questions and using polls. 3,
Oh, I don't know what happened. Okay, it started going crazy. Let's try that one more time with the 4.0. Hey, how do I get people more engaged during my YouTube live?
to boost engagement during your YouTube live, try interacting with viewers by responding to comments and questions in real time, asking for their opinions, and using polls. Promoting your live stream ahead of time on social media and through email newsletters can help draw more viewers. Additionally, offering incentives like shoutouts or giveaways can encourage participation. What kind of topics or activities do you plan to include in your live sessions?
So one of the things when you ask it a question and it's using 4.0 is it does a little click. And because it takes longer to respond, there's like this weird empty silence that unless you use it and know that that silence is going to be there, you may think that it's making a mistake. And so you'd interrupt the flow. That is annoying. And then it talks for a long time and I forgot half of what she said. So let's try the same question with 4.0 Mini. Hey, how do I get more people engaged during my YouTube live? So let's go to 4.0 Mini. Hey, how do I get more people engaged during my YouTube live?
To boost engagement during your YouTube Live, try actively interacting with viewers by answering their comments and questions. You can also ask them questions or run polls to get them involved. Promote your live session in advance on your social media and other channels to attract more viewers. Offering exclusive content or incentives for live participants can also help. What kind of content do you usually feature in your lives?
So it wasn't as short as I expected, but it was shorter. And one of the things that I like that it mentioned that it didn't mention in the first one was to ask you questions. And maybe the first one did it through polls and stuff, but um that's hilarious. Yeah. Mini plus voice plus search GPT equals supercharged Alexa or Siri. And that's kind of the consensus. So if you're going to use ChatGPT this week, maybe save yourself a lot of time by using 4.0 Mini, unless you're doing more complex analysis, data input, probably curriculum building that takes a long time. But if you're just going to be creating content that you always create, repurposing that content, doing a lot of the outlines for it, creating client assets, whatever, that align with the examples that we covered today, then I'd try 4.0. It's actually more impressive than I thought. So God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.